guys? Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all keeping safe. So, as of 17 minutes ago or 26 minutes ago, we've got this new dev update for the for Outriders, the 1 week to launch. And I wanted to go over all the stuff in this because there's quite a lot of stuff, some stuff that's really, really good and just makes me want to play the game even more on April 1st. So, hello everyone, we're just 1 week out from launching Outriders on April 1st, 2021, 7 days to go. We've got a lot of things to cover today, so let's just jump right into it. And then we've got these kind of like these 6 kind of subheadings. So firstly, which is important, the preloading and launch timings. So Xbox preloading will be live today. Now that, I don't know if that's right now because I've not checked it out, but it will be live today, which is awesome. PlayStation platforms preloading will begin 48 hours in advance of release time, so 2 days before April 1st. Steam, we are still determining our preload options here and hope to share news about the possibility of next week. And Epic Game Store, preloading is not currently possible. Launch times, rolling midnight unlock for consoles. Consoles, Xbox and PlayStation will unlock at midnight on April 1st for your specific country, so that's March 31st at 12 o'clock at night. For the USA, this means midnight EDT April 1st, which is 9 o'clock PDT on March 31st. And in unified single global time for PC and Stadia, the platforms will release on April 1st at 5 BST or 9 AM PDT. These platforms can only release at a single time globally. This is due to how their stores are set up. Here is the countdown. This time is the standard PC release time for Square Enix and has been carefully chosen to ensure that the maximum amount of support and partner staff are on hand to deal with any launch day issues. So it does look as though PC and Stadia are going to go live quite a bit later than consoles will. What has changed between the last demo build and the launch build of Outriders? So it says below is a condensed overview. In truth, the launch day build contains a multitude of additional general improvements, balancing bug fixes and crash resolutions. Highlights include lots of demo content bug fix, including for example mods on some legendary weapons not triggering properly, balancing changes for various items, mods, enemy stats and loot drops. Balancing is an ongoing process, as it is with any looter shooter game, and we have learnt much from internal playtests, the insiders preview and the demo over the previous months. However, we're sure that we can continue to learn more from the launch of the main game and the feedback provided by you, our community, so keep it coming. And as with any game generally, especially games like this where you are going to get builds and stuff like that, balancing is just going to be one of those things, an ongoing thing that happens and gets changed around every month or whatever. Crossplay will no longer be in beta and will be on by default. PC players will be able to add cross-platform players that they have previously played with to their friends list. Consoles will receive this functionality for a future patch, which is awesome. Please note that if you turn off crossplay manually, you'll not be able to automatically matchmake with people who will still have it turned on, even if you're all on the same platform. Direct inviting should still work though. Added a quick mark functionality to your inventory. This will allow you to mass mark all items based on their rarity in 1 or 2 button presses rather than needing to mark items individually, which is still possible if preferred. This is a really good change, and overall this is just kind of one of those quality of life things that just makes everything a lot smoother and great. Improvement to the cover system, which is again awesome, although as they've specifically said before, cover is for your enemies and not for you. Improvement to travel voting system used when in group, and added information about internal cooldown mechanics for mods to their descriptions. Again, this is really good stuff when they add this kind of detail to the game, rather than you have to go and find out somehow. It's just there for you. It just makes everything a lot smoother, and more information is generally better. Patches and post-launch support. We currently have a few patches undergoing testing and submission. It is our full intention to release patch notes across all platforms simultaneously, though this may not always happen. Below are our pre-planned patches. So day 1 patch, this is a patch we're hoping to have ready and integrated into preloading even before launch. If everything goes to plan, you won't even have to download this on day 1, but there is a possibility that this patch will release on April 1st, day 1, and therefore will require an additional download. Many bug fixes and improvements with a particular focus on the latter sections of the game. Performance improvements for pacing, stuttering that was observed during the demo. Camera smoothing improvements for cutscenes and dialogues. This should reduce the camera shake that some players are struggling with. Yeah, this is, for me, this is one of my biggest issues with the demo, was the cutscenes and the shaking camera that made me just, it almost felt like I couldn't watch the cutscenes, which means I didn't get into the story as much because I didn't see those cutscenes. I just couldn't focus on that camera. So having this is huge for me personally, and I reckon for a lot of people this is going to be huge. Cutscenes, dialogues, frame rate improvements. PC cutscenes will have the option to choose 30, 60, 90, 120. Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5 will be locked to 60, and Xbox One and PlayStation 4 will remain locked to 30 FPS. Post-launch follow-up patch and upcoming optimizations. So we have an additional pre-planned patch that is intended to address any recently reported issues or bugs coming out of the demo that the run to launch didn't allow us enough time to implement beforehand. And it says below are intentions for this patch. Controller adjustment options such as dead zone adjustment, acceleration settings and legacy layouts. These are all good. Loading time improvements for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 consoles. Further performance improvements for co-op games. Crossplay friends list and invite system across all platforms. This will require you to be using a Square Enix members account. Bug fixes including, for example, lore collectibles bugging out on second characters. This list will continue to be built out as we progress through launch. These are all the things that you expect to have. I like these controller adjustments here. Just all the stuff, these quality of life stuff that just makes the game that much better and just makes it much more accessible and smooth, and that's really important. This seems to be a repeat. Our policy on cheating and hacking. Since demo launch, this has been a hotly debated topic, so we wanted to provide some perspective on it as well as outline our policy regarding cheating and hacking going forward. For context, at the time when we reached around 2 million players, we identified 200 players who had clearly cheated. In percentage terms, that's 0.01%, so very low. Yes, even the person who gave themselves 600 legendary weapons. We trust that this percentage will not grow by much as we move through and beyond launch, but below are the steps we will take to ensure that legit players will not have their funds spoiled as a result of cheaters. Repercussions of being identified as having used cheats. Repercussions are account-wide, not character-specific. You will not be able to matchmake with legit players. Matchmaking will likely take significantly longer. You will still be able to play solo. In future, our HUD will have discrete but visible watermark placed on it so that gameplay footage created on this account can be readily identified as coming from a flagged account. Wow, that's some pretty good changes there, and it's good to see that they've come out almost before even day one and said, look, this is how we're going to fix cheating if there is any in our game, and these are the steps that we're taking. I just love the transparency here. What is considered cheating? Intentionally running the game on PC without easy anti-cheat, modifying game files to enhance a character, externally modifying the game time to reduce dependent features such as vendors and challenges, using a trainer program or similar to gain advantages with the game, or using gameplay altering programs such as Aimbox and Warhats. All the stuff that you, again, would consider cheating is in there. It says individual players who are found to be being regularly kicked by multiplayer hosts shortly after joining may also be manually reviewed as an additional anti-cheat, anti-grief safeguard. So you've got to bear that in mind. Using performance tweaking software such as Riva Tuner, for example, to improve a personal game experience is not considered cheating. Farming is not considered cheating, even though the amount of battering that captain underwent could be considered unethical, of course. We reserve the right to update and change this policy in future. And then it says Hell's Rangers info, so I think this is the pre-order bonus. The Hell's Ranger content will become available via your stash for anyone who owns it. This means that even if you progress through the story without it, you will not miss out on acquiring it in the game. Please note that this gear is level locked to level 10, so you will need to meet its requirements, achieving level 10 or playing a certain level boosting world tiers before you're able to use it. Does this mean that you won't be able to upgrade it in order for it to be useful in the end? I actually don't know the answer to that. If anyone does, let me know in the comments down below. Item restoration for players who lost their legendaries. As mentioned in our previous dev update, I think which was a couple of days ago, we intend to restore legendaries to players who lost them as a result of a specific bug. This restoration is taking place right now as part of today's maintenance. So the maintenance was at 2 o'clock, and I think it's down for about an hour. Restoration is a one-off event for global player population. Restoration will take place on March 25th and will restore any legendaries lost before March 22nd. Only legendary weapons that were lost can be restored. Instances of this occurring include players using specific farming methods that are so fast that they prevent the game from triggering an autosave cycle before the farming run is reset. In extreme cases, some players may go for long periods of time without autosaving. Players crashing out of the game just before or after they pick up a legendary. And it says we are continuing to investigate such use cases and we're looking into how we can mitigate against them in the future. And I think they need to do that because this part here specifically, where players are running content really fast and the game kind of isn't it programmed to expect it to be run that fast, I think that could be an ongoing issue as players do find the quickest and most efficient way to get through content. So hopefully they can, if that's not already fixed, I hope there is one. While we hope that we manage to restore as many legendaries as possible, we expect there to be niche cases of players not having a legendary restored because it never arrived on our logs as per the use cases above. If this is the case, please reply to this subthread here so that we can track and be aware of how many cases were missed. We'll try to provide news around further steps when we know more, and then there we go. So guys, I mean, overall, it's pretty impressive the amount of information we're getting from the devs here about the game, even before the game goes live. And I have to admit, the transparency, the communication is well, I don't think I've seen a game do it quite as good as this. And what I can tell is that they're addressing most of the issues that a lot of players may have had. The camera stuttering, for one, for me, was the biggest gripe I had. It was one of the things that actually made me not want to play the game. And they're going to be addressing that with this patch, which is just really good news. Overall, really, really happy. Looking forward to actually playing the game on April 1st. Looking forward to getting into it, leveling up a character, getting into the story, which is some of that I missed out on in the demo for the reasons I've explained, and actually getting to learn this world and really get involved in it. And again, I'm just happy that for once it feels like there's a developer that's really got their head screwed on in terms of communication with their community. Overall, it's going to pay off. But that's it, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Until the next one, Epic out.